Hey, what's up? I'm Naptic and today we're making a dark EDM future bass banger. Future bass is usually known for its upbeat and happy vibe, but today we're flipping that. Typically, this kind of music has an intro, a verse, a drop, a second verse, and a final drop, but you know me, I'm not gonna stick to that 100%. I'm adding a bridge, a varying section, but I'm just showing you how I approach it, and my way isn't necessarily the best. I just hope you can learn something and find something inspiring. Let's start a new project. I'm using flstudio, but feel free to follow along in any other DAW. First things first, let's adjust the BPM of the track. So I'm going with 115 BPM. This is a little unusual for future bass, but as I said, I don't follow rules. To set the tone, I'm using two pads to create an atmospheric feel. It's these two, the first one and the second one. You can hear that one is a little pan to the right and the other one to the left, and this creates a very wide feeling. And it's actually interesting how I made them. The second pad was originally just this. So just some strings following the chord progression. As I pitched them down and added some effects, we made this. The second one is kind of similar, just that the up-pitched original sound was a little different. I'm pretty sure that was just some piano in a Portal preset. So all in all, we have this. It might sound a little empty now, but don't worry, we'll fill it out later, especially once we add the vocals. So all in all, the intro is just some sound designing, some experimenting. So let's move on to the verse.
And there's nowhere I could go.
To create a very vulnerable feeling in the verse, we can strip away almost all elements. We only need one instrument to support the vocals harmonically, and I decided to go with the piano. So it's extremely simple. As we move into the second part, we want to start building up energy. So I'm reintroducing the pads and I'm adding epic orchestral drums. A few percussion elements will help building up tension. Now we need one more building up instrument. I'm thinking of violins. Sounds pretty good. So now it's finally time to add the vocals. I recorded them myself, but of course you can use any vocals you find, like from a sample pack or something.
And the flowers turn to dust. And again you broke my trust.
I also recorded some background vocals, but you will hear them later. For the first drop, I like to carry over one element from the verse into the drop, because it makes the transition a little smoother and makes the track feel like one whole thing. So my first idea was to take these last two words from the vocal and just repeat them all the time. So here's what I came up with. So as you can see, I not only copied the vocals, but also created one left and one right layer. This again creates a very wide feeling and just gives them more energy. So now let's work on the essentials, starting with the drums. I've gone with a pretty basic future bass rhythm, and all I use is a kick, a snare, and a ride, and later an open hat. Keeping things minimal allows other elements to shine through even more, so sometimes less is more. Next up, the bass. So in this case, I don't want it to be in the very back of the mix, but it's also not the focus. What I came up with is this. Let's go into some more details here. I designed it myself in Vital, a free synthesizer. It's really just this kind of sine wave thing, FM'd by square wave. And after some effects in Vital, basically only distortion and taking away some of these highs, and some post-processing, we have this. So all in all, we have this now. Sounds pretty good, but it's missing something. A lead that's a little more complex than just these but me vocal snippets. And I want it to be impactful without taking up too much space. The sound is not really full and unique yet, so what I did is adding layers. Layering is a great way to improve your sounds, not only by making them fuller with more frequencies, but also making them more unique. In total I have 4 layers and they sound like that. And together they sound like that. And you can hear the great difference between only one element of it and all of them. And that's the first drop. So now onto the second verse, or first to the transition between the drop and the second verse. In this case, I only use the piano, we already know, and some parts of the drop lead. We just filter it out. And that's it. Now the second verse. I use the same melody with different lyrics.
My last faith turns into dust.
But for the instruments, I don't like copying the first verse. I want to create a similar, yet a little different atmosphere. So this time I'm using a re-space instead of a piano to give harmonic context.
Faith turns into dust. No more hope.
We can also add drums to maintain some of that tempo. I went with a very big kick and a similar big snare to fit into that dark white room. All this together with low-pitched shakers to keep the drive. At the very end I will take the drop lead again and filter it in, because this really builds up the transition to the next part. As I said at the beginning, I'm not sticking to the typical future bass structure, but instead build in another part, a bridge. The bridge is another section that is different to the verses and the drops. The track has been very deep and dark so far, and I want to create a contrast. To do that, I'm opening it up with the pads again and adding some violins on top of it, as well as some background vocals. Halfway through I'll add a re-space, cross percussion and FX to build momentum for the final drop. The vocals are key here. It took me a lot of takes, but I finally got something I'm happy with. To create even more tension, I created a fake drop in the first two bars. A rising solid builds up in this section, leading to its final tone and a huge re-space coming in here. The drums are almost identical with the first drop, they just work perfectly here. In the second half of the drop, I'll bring back the main lead from the first drop, along with this vocal line, and a few seconds later the track will end abruptly with the final vocal phrase. Creating this track was a real journey. I hope you learned something or found some inspiration. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. My new track Flowers is out now, check the link in the description. See you next time!
To dust, and again you broke my trust, and there's nothing that is left but me, and there's nowhere I could go. I'm too deep inside this hole, and there's no one that I know but my last faith turns into dust. No more hope and no more trust, and there's nothing that is left but me. Your decision, no return. No one knows how bad it hurts, and there's no one that I know but me.
Can't believe it's all over.